the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. Taking a look at tonight's 9-game slate. A lot of bad pitchers here as far as guys to stack against. Jared Weaver, Willie Peralta, Anthony
Two of our
Renato.
favorites.
Yeah.
Two of our favorites, really. Yeah, and Renato is also an exciting candidate. So certainly a lot of ways to go. Tournaments are going to be fun tonight.
Yeah, definitely are. Jump into the first game here, Orioles and Nationals, Max Scherzer versus Ubaldo Jimenez. And we kind of left Ubaldo out, but he's a guy you can certainly stack against. Washington are pricey, but I definitely don't mind paying up for a Harper Murphy return if you have the extra cash. But they are expensive.
Yep, certainly expensive, but I think the Nationals is definitely a way to go tonight. As far as stacking goes, I don't think they're going to be one of the higher-owned stacks, especially with those prices. So certainly an interesting way to go. I think Worth is a decent fade tonight, but other than that, I think the 1 through 6 is looking pretty good.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, Wilson Ramos at 4K is certainly a reasonable guy to toss in there. Rendon a little bit pricey, but I can see him kind of paying out as well.
Mm-hmm.
As far as using the Orioles, not really looking to get a ton of exposure, but I think as far as maybe a cheap home run shot, you can make a case for a couple guys like Adam Jones or Machado. I think those are reasonable guys. Trumbo nearing the 4K mark, I'm a little bit off. I like the discount that the other two kind of give you.
Yep, totally agree.
So outside of that, you're not really looking to get a ton of exposure to Baltimore tonight. Sure.
No, I don't think so. Unless you're trying to get leverage on the Scherzer owners, which is pretty viable in tournaments, but I wouldn't get too much exposure either way.
It is because, I mean, it's not like Scherzer's been going through games in the most cleanest fashion. So it's an option you can go with, but obviously a deep tournament play.
Yep.
Angels and Blue Jays next here. Jay Happ versus Jared Weaver. With the Angels side, we'll make it short and quick. Obviously, Trout and Pujols are in play. Pujols is a guy who's hit lefties pretty well. But me, I do like the Jet Bandy value catching option there at 2,600.
Yep, I do like that quite a bit. That's a nice price for him. The rest of the group, though, I'm not trusting to get, much going. So that's more of a fade other than those three. And this Blue Jays lineup, I mean, we should be pleasantly surprised, or things are gonna, empty water bottles are gonna be thrown, and keys are gonna be like gently put on the ground in an angry fashion, and yeah, it's gonna be bad.
It is. If they don't get 10 runs off of Weaver, I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lose my mind.
And by lose it, you mean sit there angry and.
Yeah, I'm not going to go, punching holes in the wall, but I am going to.
No.
I'm going to shut my laptop.
Yeah, like
not hard,
not hard, but like you're going to shut it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I just leave it open. I put it on sleep. Blue Jays will make me shut it. That's how angry I'll get.
Exactly. But joking aside, you're obviously looking at 1 through 4 really hard. And in terms of Russell Martin, Troy Tulowitzki, Michael Saunders, I think they're all worth looks in tournaments as well.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, I'm a little bit disappointed because Russell Martin and Tulowitzki are priced up so highly, but I can understand why. But obviously, we do have a decent value in terms of Travis if he's in the lineup. Same thing with Bautista. And you look at those guys outside of Sanders, all right-handed bats. Weaver, 354 WOBA to righty since last year, 1.64 home runs per 9. Those guys are all cash game playable. It's just a matter of what ones I can fit in.
Definitely.
Royals and Marlins next here. Tom Kohler versus Edison Volquez. For me here, I don't like this game at all. The one guy who I did like on FanDuel, Christian Yelich at 4.9, I can't get behind here at that price.
Yeah, 4.9 is just a little too expensive. They're even inching up that D. Gordon price. So while I understand Volquez has been mediocre, if not bad, this isn't a matchup for me where I'm looking to go at the Marlins here, especially with, the looming stack monsters of these other games. I don't think you can really trust this Marlins lineup.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And, I mean, Hosmer, 3,700, I guess that's the more reasonable one if you were looking to get a lefty against Kohler, because Gordon at 4.7, I'd just rather go with other options.
Yeah, agreed. Hosmer and I wouldn't say log out because that's certainly not a exciting play, but yeah, Hosmer and probably not looking too much into this Royals offense.
Hosmer and go eat dinner at 5:30 with all the other old people in your neighborhood.
Yeah,
That's the type of play he is.
Right.
Mets and Cardinals next here. Adam Wainwright versus Seth Lugo. Cardinals bat's a little pricey here. I mean, I think you could especially notice it with Jed Jerko, who's 4,800. I'm still okay with the Carpenter at 47. Moss is a little out there for me, but I like Piscotty at 47. That alone, I'm not on the Cardinals as much here on DraftKings as I am on FanDuel.
No, I think you can still take a look. Maybe a Carpenter and cash. I mean, that's a pretty good matchup for him. But yeah, overall, I think this is more of a tournament stack. Maybe one tournament stack, and that's it from this group.
Yeah, I think so. And on the Mets side of things, I mean, obviously Wainwright's been a little bit up and down. Not a little bit. He's been very up and down this year. Has been better at home. That is something to mention. Obviously, the Mets are still projected for right around 3.5 runs, which is one of the lower ones on the night. If Jay Bruce is in the lineup, I'm okay with tossing him in a tournament. Same thing with Cespedes. I'm just taking the strong options in terms of GPP plays. Outside of that, though, not really looking at this Mets team. I think you can kind of fade. As far as using... As far as using the rest of those guys, it really is just a focal point on the high top option. Sorry, we lost Russ there. Had a little technical difficulty. But it's really just the studs in this one, and then you're looking to move on.
Are you speaking about yourself?
I'm talking, yeah, my studs. I'm just studding myself and moving on.
Yeah, gotcha.
But basically, I know what you cut out, but Mets and Cardinals, just the studs and kind of moving on.
Yeah, no, I'm not really in on the Mets, to be honest. But if Jay Bruce is out of the lineup, certainly going to be giving a hard look to Wainwright.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a big bat out of the middle. Indians and Rangers next year, Cole Hamels versus Josh Tomlin. Obviously, the Indians under 4 runs in a friendly ballpark. They do have some guys who do hit lefties well. And the prices are actually pretty relieving, like they're actually facing an ace. So it is kind of nice. It makes it a little bit easier to accommodate kind of throwing in a GPP lineup with a couple of righties there, but that's really all they are.
Yep. Certainly going to be looking at Rajai Davis, maybe in Mike Napoli. I like Cole Hamels tonight, but in the same vein, I like the Indians as sort of a contrarian tournament stack with Davis, Napoli, and I don't even know, maybe a Lindor or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Davis, Napoli, Lindor price is much better here on DraftKings if you wanted to go that route. So Davis, Napoli, Lindor, Brandon Guyer, I'm certainly okay with using.
Yep.
But obviously just the tournaments.
Yep, absolutely.
As far as Texas goes, I like Ian Desmond's price better here. And obviously we talked about Tomlin's reverse splits, 357 Woba to righties, 2.19 home runs per 9. Beltre, obviously Lucroy is really expensive here, but I don't mind Lucroy, Beltre, Desmond as far as those righties go.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Overall, it's going to be tough to figure out who exactly to target in this lineup, but I think you can sprinkle in. I'm not in on a full stack here, but I do like using all these guys in random lineups.
Yeah, I do too. And as far as the lefties go, I mean, Beltran and Odor, both fairly cheap. Against Tomlin, I mean, Tomlin's been all right against lefties, but still is home run prone. So I see those more as GPP options in comparison to the rest of the lineup, where those are cash game worthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mariners and White Sox next. Anthony Ranuado versus James Paxton. Obviously, the Mariners bats are priced up quite a bit, as they should be. That Cano, Cruz, Seager grouping, if Seager and Cruz are in the lineup, are a pretty penny. But I do think the Seattle Mariners bats are certainly worth a look.
Yeah, I definitely like Cano here, obviously, even at 52. He's borderline cash for me at that price. Certainly a guy I want to pay up for. Seth Smith, looking at that 36. I think that's sort of the two-man grouping I'm going with, especially if Cruz and Seager are out of the lineup.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I don't mind. I mean, you look at all these guys outside of Martin at the bottom of the lineup, all under 3,500 or 3,500. Zunino, Marte, if you want to punch shortstop, Lind. I don't mind those guys. I mean, I think especially if there are some moves to be made in that lineup when it comes out, you can kind of get a lot of value there.
Absolutely.
As far as the White Sox go, for me, it's basically just two guys I'm taking a look at: Melky Cabrera, Todd Frazier, 3,800. Melky Cabrera, 41. Both have hit lefties well. Paxton, obviously, a guy who's been hit or miss, but same with this White Sox offense, which is why I'm not getting much exposure.
Two hit and miss little groupings here. So as much as Paxton is intriguing, the White Sox are intriguing. I think you just treat them, like the White Sox offense they have been. I'm okay with Abreu as well at 37. I don't mind that, even though it is at sort of a premium position.
Yeah, it is certainly an option. And as far as diving down, I mean, there's no one here you need to even worry about.
No, Deoner Navarro had his night last night, so I don't think we'll see that again for a while.
No, definitely not. Pirates and Brewers next year. Willie Peralta versus Chad Kuhl. The Pirates have the Willie Peralta bump. Both Polanco and Marte are 5,400, McCutchen 47. So they're priced up like they're facing one of the worst pitchers in the game.
Yep, makes it a little easier to fade, but Gregory Polanco still a cash game option against Peralta. So definitely like that there. I'm okay with Josh Harrison here. I mean, I'm pretty much okay with the top four. Maybe sneak in a Josh Bell at 29. I know you're excited about that one. So, yeah, definitely looking at the 1 through 4 and then the 6 here.
I like Josh Bell more here, not for the price reasons, but just for the position eligibility, because I do like him at an outfield spot, whereas first base, it's your only other first base. I mean, you're taking up that option, so it is kind of a bummer. But 2,900, obviously a terrific punt play. As you mentioned, Polanco and Bell, I think, are really the focal points, given Peralta 385 Woba to lefties, 1.39 homers per 9. But obviously he struggles against righties as well, so you can make the case for Marte and McCutchen and Harrison as well.
Yep.
As far as the Brewers go, Jonathan Villar, 4,700. I don't mind him as a pay-up option. Same thing with Braun and Carter. I think those are kind of three intriguing GPP options on tonight's slate, just because Kuhl, kind of your average right-hander. I mean, he's done all right. I mean, he gets to the sixth, allows a couple runs, and it doesn't give you a ton of stacking potential, but I do like the one-off upside they bring.
Agreed. Yeah, one off with Braun, one off with Villar. I think those are very intriguing options.
Yeah, I think so too. So overall, great ballpark. I mean, obviously the shift that Pittsburgh has going from PNC into here, definitely a big bump for those bats.
Mm-hmm.
Braves Diamondbacks next year, Robbie Ray versus Matt Whistler. And this kind of the same thing goes here for the Braves. I just like Matt Kemp at 4,300 against the lefty in Chase Field. I think that's solid. Obviously, Ray has been pitching better, is a high strikeout type of guy, but still a little bit vulnerable to the home runs, and especially in that ballpark.
Yeah, and this is kind of what they brought him in for, against lefties. This is where they need him. So I like his spot batting fourth tonight. Obviously good splits against lefties. So, yeah, definitely behind that call. As far as the Diamondbacks go, I don't want to pay $5,300 for Gene Segura. I don't know that I want to pay $4,900 for Goldschmidt either, especially if I'm paying up for pitching. So looking at Jake Lamb here, I'd expect him to jump back into the 4 spot against a weak righty, but we'll see. Wait for that lineup to come out. If he is, I do like him quite a bit.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, 4,700, it's more reasonable in comparison to the other guys. I'm not going to write off the Diamondbacks as a stacking option, but they are an expensive one. It is going to have to force you to kind of pay down at pitching a little bit or punt kind of other areas.
Yep.
But obviously, Whistler, I mean, home run potential for a lot of these right-handed bats. 1.34 homers per 9 to righties since last year. Obviously, lefties have had the more success off Whistler, but yeah, outside of Lamb, there isn't really a lefty that I'm looking at.
Agreed.
Giants and Dodgers next year. This one, well, they made it easy to kind of fade, I guess. Span and Pagan, 47 and 4,900, a little odd as far as pricing goes. But I think Posey and Pence are reasonable GPP options, but that's about it.
Yeah, GPPs, but not really trying to get too much exposure to the Giants tonight, or really the Dodgers, or deleting this game from my consciousness, really.
Yeah, I mean, 2 bets there would be Posey and Pence for me. Dodgers 2 bets would be Yasmani Grandal and Kike Hernandez. But that's about it. I don't expect a ton of runs. Vegas isn't either. I mean, both are hovering around 4, and I think they'd be lucky to get to a total of 8 tonight.
Yeah, agreed. I'm taking the under in this game, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's going to wrap things up with our DraftKings Daily Trot. Be sure to check out DaveFantasyCafe.com and be sure to go to YouTube and subscribe and like our site.